Pat's here. Robin's here. Donna's here. Kathy's here. Doug's here. Sue F is here. Fiona, John, Ellen. We have Zach. Raise your hand. Zach, the man, the legend, the myth, is here from ONG. I hope I gave you a raise on that one. Dan, Dave, Kemp, Marissa, Allison, and Jeff. Approval of the agenda. We have, yes.
I'd like to approve the agenda with an amendment.
Yeah.
That we add an item to authorize the two ex-board members to still remain members as community members.
Okay.
I don't know where you want to put it.
We're,
Right after approval of minutes.
yes,
Okay.
4A. Okay. Also, I have a change, not a change, addition. In the packet, you did, I added PCOs 123, 124, 125, 126, and 127. They're in your packet, but I didn't have enough time to put them on the agenda. So we'll go over those. Those are all construction manager contingencies. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve both changes of the agenda? Pat, have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Ellen? Further discussion? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay. Approval of minutes. Kevin, motion, hopefully, wait, looks at him. So, don't business now.
I'm done.
Yes, yes.
I'm not in the roll call.
Oh,
How could that happen?
how could that happen?
I don't know.
Because we were in the cab, we couldn't hear.
You had, I don't know, I was gonna say stuff in your mouth, but no.
We're having
Could've been it.
Thanksgiving supper.
It wasn't good.
It was good.
It was very good. It
The,
was a nice surprise.
well, I should try to surprise once. After he does a great job. They're really good. Nice people. Can I have a motion with that change? Ed Ellen? So move. John? Second?
Second.
Second, Kathy. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay. 4A. Okay, Ellen, one of you.
Motion to have Fiona Capablanca and Kathy Coder continue on the committee as community members.
There's a second. Anybody have a second? Second, Pat. Any discussion?
Effective as of
What?
January. I mean, still they're board members now currently, so do we?
They're
just-
not.
No,
No, they're not.
Tuesday,
Oh,
they
they
were
got-
up for it.
just-
December 4th,
God, it
December
already
4th,
happened.
Already
Gotcha.
happened, so
Okay.
effective
Yep.
immediately.
Yeah.
effective immediately.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Um,
Aye, opposed? Okay. The next one, just to add those PCOs which you have included. Have a motion to include those.
So
Donna,
Second.
second. Armand. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay. Public participation. Jeff, you're the public.
I got nothing.
Okay. Next, Dan, the man.
Good evening, everybody. I will put something up on the screen similar to what, what you receive in your packet in the monthly photos. Sure. So that you don't have to look at pretty pictures. I'll give you just an overview. Thank you, Dave. Yeah. They taught me how to push one button at a time. So progress report for the month covered. Technically, with the photographs that were taken and shared with you were photos that were taken up to December 1st. So we moved along a little bit, and so some of the photos I have for you in the presentation are more current. Beginning typically where we started our work in Area D, this time in the month of December. Not much work on the interior, but we did get up onto the roof and finish the masonry veneer on the two raised sections, the middle school cafeteria and the high school cafeteria. And then probably the most significant thing for us was finishing the gas line installation and then energizing gas to temporary heating units. So we had a nice picture of a temporary heating unit. We have I think 9 of those units running through the building. We have a comfortable building at, we need minimums of 55 in order to continue sheetrock and get joint compound to dry. And we're averaging about 60 to 62 degrees throughout the structure. Moving ahead then to work in Area B. So in this photograph, there's the windows are in progress, but at this point in time, all of the windows are installed in both the courtyard side of Area B as well as the Route 8 side of Area B. On the interior, beginning downstairs, we've begun to load equipment. This equipment, that's your booster pump for the domestic water systems. Only takes one at a time, but they cycle through, so you always have the redundancy there. So that's located in the water room where the domestic water comes into the building and then punches through the rest of the structure. In the next photograph, we're in the boiler room, the main mechanical room, placing what's known as housekeeping pads, where equipment sits and we raise it up off the finished floor elevation. So we've gotten deliveries of most all the equipment. We haven't brought in the boilers yet in that space. We want to do some of the larger overhead piping work, and then we'll load the last pieces of equipment, the boilers. The picture you see here is in B lower level. There's a couple of rooms, the tech ed room and the engineering tech classroom, in which there's portions of exposed ceiling, where the ceiling is an exposed structure. And so what you're seeing there is a painter painting the exposed structure. In Area B, moving on from B lower level, again, we suspended work down there until we get the change, which we actually got yesterday on the architectural side of the last bit of changes for the space classroom uses. Moving up, we're our big, we hung drywall. We hung drywall for a month. We are now taping on B3. This fellow's on B1. So we are now painted out on B1. The painter has moved to B2. The tapers are up on B3. So things are progressing nicely as far as moving through the paint and finish. And then we have durations where we put in overhead work, drop the HVAC chill beam system. And the electrician gets an opportunity, runs the lighting control circuitry, puts in the circuitry for the lights. It's about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and then the ceiling grid starts. So we have ceiling grid starting on B1 around Monday, January 8th. So that's what's going on. Another picture of just progress in there. I think that's a painted wall. Those are the soffits that go above the lockers. So now you're looking in a corridor in B. Again, just that would be the future corridor pocket for the lockers. Moving then to Area A. So as we come around the building, at this point in time, exterior wise, all the veneer is finished. Now it's the window trade that's working. We've got a crew of 15 putting in windows. At this point in time, all the windows facing the pond on the first floor are installed. They're starting the large curtain storefront system that's on the first floor on the courtyard side. We're very excited to see all of the punch windows and windows in that courtyard completed. The next exciting thing to look ahead is that wall that I just showed you. That large curtain wall 1, is shipping to site on January 2nd. So we're excited to see windows and permanent enclosures. Let's see, in A1, A2, A3, A4, all of the mechanical systems are moving up through there. We're actually now complete with in-wall rough on A1 and A2. They're up on A3. This happens to be a picture of the media center on A4. Where overhead rough, mechanical wise, has been done for a little bit, but the trades are moving up. Electrician's probably already up on A4. Moving then to area C, we finished the exterior envelope, finished the air vapor barrier spray on the outside. You can see that there. Oh yeah, because that's a more recent picture. As Dave said, now you can see all the windows in. In area B. What's that?
That's fresh.
That's a fresh shot.
Look at this picture of Zach, he's wearing that shirt.
That's right. Well, let's see. So the other work in area C was to complete the roof. Last month at this time, we didn't have the roof on. That's the high roof of the auditorium that you're seeing there. And this is the back side of the auditorium, the lower section of roof that's between the auditorium and the high school and middle school cafeterias. So weather-wise, roofing systems are complete with the exception of the 2 small roofs adjacent to area E. And they'll come back to do the area G. They came out, they finished that? Nice. Let's see, so now I'm in the high school, I'm in the middle school cafeteria area, looking at what will be the gym. So in area CD, we call it, where your cafeteria is, we had to enclose the space, temper the space, and spray the fireproofing. So that's a temporary wall condition between that middle school cafeteria and what will be the gym. Photo taken a few weeks back. The spray fireproofing in area C, all the structural beams that you see are now sprayed, and that wall has actually been removed. That temporary wall went up, did its job, and then came back down. Also going on in area E, in area C, is layout for the next phase, which is to bring in the heavy mechanical piping. So as I mentioned, the fireproofer is actually finished in there now, and we've started studs in there. Now I'll move ahead to area F. You're looking at the building, the existing school would be on your right. You're looking at the area F facade. Exterior wise, brick veneer is finished. The portion of the building that still remains the gray, yellowy, orangey color, air vapor barrier color, that gets clad in metal panels. So that's veneer part is finished with the exception of in the very far distance of your view. That's the future gym. We have a little bit of brick veneer to do once the gym structure is up. That would be the other side. Or actually, it's now I'm standing on the gym looking at the same facade from the opposite end. And that showed the brick in progress. Again, all that brick is now up. And the portion that I had mentioned it's not finished yet is the portion that's on the right edge of your view. That's over the roof deck of the area G entry. Interior wise, so another picture of the courtyard side of the brick veneer. Now that everything, all the brick scaffolding system is down. On the interiors, spray fireproofing has now finished up on the 4th floor. Had to follow the roofer. So we've just got some pictures of fireproofing on beams. On the trade and the build out on the interior, metal studs are finished on levels 1, 2, on 3 as well. The mechanical systems are up through, again, ductwork and fire protection go first. They're all the way up and now working on 3. So this is what it looked like, it's roughly 2 weeks ago, and now there's studs there. The roof cap team has arrived on site, and they've been putting on the edge trim that locks down your membrane around the perimeter. Good shot of that. And then lastly, in area G, last month, we were standing up steel there. Steel has been erected, complete. The roof system, I don't think we have a picture of it, but we have a picture without any membrane on it. There it is. Now it's got membrane on it. So that's the high roof of the new gym for the middle school. And the picture that was up, so that's a temporary enclosure so that we could temper the space and again, do the fireproofing that needs to be put on the structural steel. We'll use that same enclosure to provide an environment for building the CMU walls that will be the gym. That work is in process. The intumescent paint fireproofing system has about 2 days left of work, and then he's getting actually inspected tomorrow for thickness. And then we'll turn that over to a couple of days of drywall work and then to the CMU just after the new year. It used to be a roof deck, now it's a roof. On the exterior wise, we had to bring all of the raceway, that conduit below grade, that's coming out of the underslab of the building. It goes into the main electrical room, comes out and serves to, or runs to the 2 transformers that sit on the exterior, which will be placed. The bolts are now in, everything's all backfilled over there. So raceway is complete for the power. And gas, again, very excited. We got the gas into the site, we got the gas energized, and gas is heating your building. In addition, so now the site work, back to just generally the site work again. So here we're staring at the future high school main entry. There's that curtain wall in the distance that we started our discussion. In front of the building, that's the large detention area. So we went back and forth and had to come up with some redesigns and make things fit around utilities, but that's what it is. And you can see the orange cone on the left-hand side of the screen, and you can see the person. That's our union steward on the site work side, to give you some idea of the mass of that detention system.
We did not bury him though.
But they found Jimmy Hoffa.
So yeah, that's a big piece of the puzzle. When we all have been out there, and I kept saying, this grade is going to get taller. It's going to be at the top of my head, and that's where it is now. In the next couple of weeks, that finishes up again for start of that curtain wall installation in the first week of January. And that is one of our favorite pictures because we're all happy to see the grade finally come up and be finished off. So there is your new school. And thank you, Ally, for the photo that was shared out. It's nice, it's bright. What will be really exciting is we have, there's a total of 56 punch windows that face the pond.
55.
There's only 55. I added that. I just thought I'd.
See, you always have to. Look.
I got a spreadsheet for that.
What's the charge for extra?
Yeah.
Yeah, the light.
We always go over that, Dan and I
Once the
always have
glazing
that.
goes in, and then you have, clear vision to the light. That'll be, it's quite a sight to see across the pond. I guess big milestones coming up. Again, windows finishing up 12/29. All of those punch windows should be wrapped up. Might be 1 or 2 left over. And then the curtain wall sequence starts, and we'll start setting window sets on the opposite side in the courtyard.
On the finished front, ceilings are big, right? They're gonna start in January, but you're not getting these floor finishes yet, right? Of February? Are we starting for?
We won't be doing.
Okay.
So it rolls from ceiling grid to the mechanicals and electrical that actually sit in the grid. So there's a period of time for lighting drops to go in, ceiling registers for air, HVAC. We try to get through mass majority of that so that when people aren't impacted by the next big activity is casework. So now the casework is ready to ship. It's all fabricated and stored in Avon. So we'll follow that overhead grid work with the casework work, and then we'll roll into finished floors in the classrooms.
Why don't you just go over the auditorium with the,
Also, in the auditorium, I did not include a picture because it's really hard to see, but the platform is it. So in order to build out the auditorium, the first step was to build a staging system that allows a walking working surface for the guys that have to put in the ductwork that's right up against the roof structure, fire protection that's up against the roof structure, drywall that's way up high. It's easier to hang when you have a working platform. So that structure is actually about 95% complete. About half of it has been signed off. As with any scaffold system, it gets inspected daily and gets green tagged, as we call it. So nobody's allowed to go up there. They green tagged the first half of that, because you have a sloped roof of the auditorium. That platform that the guys are going to work off of has 2 elevations up high. And so the elevation that's closest to us, the taller elevation, is been green tagged. The other side, I believe it's either tomorrow or next week, Tuesday. And then the drywaller starts. He's going to actually build a permanent finish. So there's time to put up the drywall finish, tape top, and paint that. And then the ductwork comes through that wall from, will be an air handler sitting on the roof. That ductwork comes through and lives in front of that drywall, and then continues. Then the duct guy goes, and then the drywall gets to go back, and there's a large soffit that covers up a good portion of that. Actually covers all of it. That's the piece that's behind there where the drywall is actually in the control room. So where the ductwork enters is above the control room and is not visible in space. So yep, the auditorium sequence, which we all thought is about a year's worth of work, we moved that forward slightly. We pushed a little harder, got that platform installed about 2 weeks before we had predicted in the last schedule update, so that when I review a schedule, you'll see an improvement, because the last area to finish on the job is the auditorium. By sliding that piece of our puzzle forward a couple of weeks, we've improved the delivery date of the overall project by those same couple of weeks. Excuse me. That's all the work that's going on.
if you look at the auditorium, it's amazing with the scaffolding in that
Oh
area.
my gosh.
Yeah, it's
They'll
unbelievable.
see it.
It just looks like a bunch of legs, because yes, it carries a lot of weight. Not only are there men and the ductwork and things, but there's the equipment to get men in the air. You can actually drive lifts on it. So that's moving right along. The project overall month to month. If we were to flip through the cost and schedule section of your packet that Ed has distributed, you would see the milestone chart. This document. So now we're tracking for you. We had updated this chart with an October date is now the benchmark date. And our current date that the schedule spits out for us, pardon my terminology, and then what would be the change from month to month. And so when I see a lot of zeros, I know I'm right on track. When I see something that's moved forward in time, then I'm keeping an eye on it, because it's not moving in the right direction. What I'll do next time is I'll put this on the screen for us so that you don't have to look for it in your package. So I'll move ahead to what are our cost and schedule impacts. Really there's no big change in the couple first items I had on there. I left them on there because they have some, they have a 20K or greater cost. We're just wrapping up the pricing. The spiral stair system is finalized, so that's moving into SLAM for review. We've actually released the soft joint cost. I haven't vetted it. It's an appropriate cost of $31,000. The biggest new item for you is that the mason has come to us with a claim regarding the shift in time from which he was planned to do the work in May and June. We moved him out the whole exterior facade of the building because of the way we had to put the roof on before we could put the ABB on, before we could put the brick on. He slid in time, and in doing so, he lost productivity because we had him on site doing the brickwork in area D initially, and he was supposed to roll directly into these other areas with larger crew. So I feel justified that the cost claim is there. We offered the opportunity for him to prepare a claim, and then he hit us with a $400,000 bill. We're not happy with the $400,000 bill. I'm not paying a $400,000 bill. We've gone around and around now for probably about 2 months, and he's let go of a lot of the costs that he thought he was justified. The biggest cost involved in that is the scaffold systems that he needed to keep on property longer than he thought he would need to keep them on property. So we're negotiating the value of that versus, was it his fault he didn't get enough manpower available to man up as we did open up the areas? After we got around the start of building B, so if you typical, we start our work in area D and we come around to area B. Once we got halfway through area B, the rest of the building opened up because all of the roofs went. So we were able to deliver to him square footage of building facade, and he was not able to keep the pace. That's where the back and forth is going on now as far as, who's responsible for the extra month of scaffold cost. Scaffold cost in the order of magnitude about $45,000 a month. So his last claim to us was around 150. My response was 85. We're chewing on that. We're going to find a spot with that. So that's the big new item. I saw a downward cost in PR 40. Just continuing to negotiate some of those numbers, so I wanted to represent that. In the report, it's now bold, so you can see that that number went from 290 last month down to 250 this month. The water main cost actually wasn't in at the time of this writing, but it is now in, and I have to up that estimate. The cost is going to come in over $150,000. As a refresher, what that is the water main that was in the intended portion of the project just brought new water main in to serve the building. But as a result of Aquarian getting involved and taking a second look at where the existing water mains live, they want new water main to go up Major Bessie Drive and tie in on the field side of the property on the north end. So there won't be too much wiggle room. It's a pretty straightforward, it's a pretty detailed proposal that the trade has provided. So we're going to end up at around that 150 to 160, hopefully no more than 160. Let's see, gas control saved a few dollars. Turns out the gas control doesn't need to be controlled by the fire alarm or monitored by the fire alarm, and doesn't need an emergency power off button. So that was a savings of a few dollars. The other items haven't changed month to month. Those are the larger, cost items that remain. Settled on the casework. The casework is now moving for the science classrooms. The last paragraph there represents the last proposal again for the space change in the tech ed space and the engineering tech class, which again, we just got the architectural drawings. Now we're looking for the mechanical systems. That's going to close out that PR 40. We got PR 40 Rev 3, which is the architectural change. We'll get PR 40 Rev 4, which will be the mechanical system changes. And then we'll finalize the pricing for that PR 40 right around that 250 number.
Sorry to put you on the spot, but this one about the construction engineering, so there's no cost in the report. Do we have even a rough ballpark?
Oh, that would be the last paragraph.
The second to last. Sorry.
Yeah. I see
No
that.
cost has been.
Oh, yeah, so that one, there is no cost in the report, and I haven't seen the drawings.
Okay,
I
so, okay,
I didn't even throw a number at it. So
Okay,
to
that's fine,
Dave's
that's fine.
point, there is another cost. The 250 is the other. I have to retract what I just said. in that the 250 is the previously cost and included some cost in the lower level. But what we expect to see in the lower level is going to be more electrical than we had before. And so there'll be more cost. I can't really put a number on it yet until we see what adding these pieces of equipment is going to cost both electrically and air-wise.
So for the purpose of expectations, just, you had the 295 number in your head, just keep all those changes like that. Maybe it'll be less, but just from an expectation standpoint, right?
Right.
Until we see what's in those documents.
And that, when we are giving to Ed our projected costs for everything that's outstanding, which will come into play as you guys are making a decision this evening on the ad alternates that we had for the site work. We're giving Ed worst case scenario costs. And they project in a report that he gets on a monthly basis. So those two items still remain. Order of magnitude for each might be 30 to 40,000. Overall health of the project wise, CM contingency sits at 2.7 million, $2.69 million unused or unprojected use at this point in time. Schedule's on track, and you have almost $3 million in CM side contingency in addition to what Ed had, 2.7 million in addition to what the owner side has in that equation. Any questions? Anything I can clarify?
Then you have all the pictures. You have BL's report. John was out yesterday. He has a cold. He says, stay away. Don't come here. So you can see all of his comments, and I've gone through some of those comments, all of them, with Dan. So they've taken care of that. The next issue you have is the application for certificate of payment. You can see who's getting paid, what's the amount. And I have approval to pay ONG $6,604,166.50. Who's that? Fiona? Second, John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The next one. Discussion. You want to, how should we start that? Do you want to hand that out?
Yeah, I'm realizing, so we are here today. We are at the end of the opportunity to capture the alternates that we had at bid time now about a year ago. The site work contractor said he would hold his price till the end of the year, so that's where we're at now. So what I'm providing you in this picture is a list of the alternates that you've seen before, and actually the drawings that you've seen before only now. The sidewalks are highlighted green.
I'm handing out the course that we're updating for our contract, so we can have a better understanding of where we stand.
You had 4 alternates that we hadn't voted on yet. The first being tennis courts. In the base bid documents, there were 4. In the ad alternate, there are 6. So. My understanding is pretty sought after alternate. And so, I'm not sure if you want to move these through singly. It's probably appropriate to do so. Speak to each one. First, I'll describe the packet I gave to you. So the list of ad alternates, these are all from the original documents. Back November 3rd, 2022, it was published, and now it's been updated a few days ago. On the right-hand side, you see the block of gray. Those are the 4 remaining alternates that you'll be asked to vote on this evening. The value of each from the trade is listed in the second, in the middle column. There is O&G's insurance bonds and fee on top of that, so there's a few dollars in addition to the numbers that you see there. And then the drawing that you have are what we have for alternates that were in the bid document set. And so the first page is your daily drive entrance. You got the left-hand corner. I've highlighted in pink the 2 additional tennis courts. The other 2 clouds were the related to alternates that have already been decided upon. The athletic field lighting was a rejected alternate, and the extra vehicle gate that's there was related to the turf, which we've also voted already to reject. So that's the extent of the concrete paving for sidewalks there. If you flip to the next page, the match line would be where it goes from green to gray. What's gray is on the previous page, what's green is to the right of that. So all of those sidewalks that are green on the page, on the first page and on the second page, are what is your alternate for concrete sidewalks at the athletic fields. There is a total of about 46,000 square feet. Those would all be regular asphalt bituminous sidewalks if you don't accept the alternate. That concrete is all what's known as heavy duty concrete. It's a 7-inch section. And then the last page is in the courtyard of your building. You have another alternate that is for using concrete in lieu of asphalt in the courtyard area. So you see all the other sidewalks that are on that drawing are all concrete already. And so it's only in that courtyard that we would upgrade from a bituminous product or an asphalt product to concrete.
Can you explain the durability of the 2 products?
Concrete lasts longer. It's a more stable product.
Longer, meaning 100 years, 50 years?
I'd be remiss to say that I could really quantify it for you. Asphalt does last. You have a very stable subgrade material here, which is probably your biggest concern. So that asphalt would hold up. If the ground doesn't undulate, it's going to hold up better. A 5-inch thick section of concrete, I think, would probably be in the order of magnitude of 50 years.
Compared to how long Dan for the asphalt. The other she was going for us.
Yeah, I mean,
What's the, because to the group, obviously it's a budget thing.
Yeah,
Right.
just trying to think.
We have to replace it 4 times asphalt
Right.
in the one time.
No, it's not,
concrete.
it's not 4.
it's not going to fail that quick.
But probably.
But you don't want to.
Yeah, I say 20, 25 years probably for asphalt.
2 to 2.5
Right.
times.
What are the random white
What's the
circles are
cost?
on in the middle of that concrete, like the 21,000 square foot island? Next to the tennis courts.
Those are first page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a turf area.
It's just,
So, yeah, it's just turf, graded turf.
Okay.
There's that's actually where the vault lives for the primary electrical service.
okay.
There's some trees and plantings in there.
And on the other diagram, similar there, they have reasons for them there.
Yep. It's grass.
Also on the sheet that I handed out.
Yeah, I didn't mention
Oh, yeah, John has a question.
No, it's not a question, it's an observation. Lawrence Square was all boxed up today when I came here at 4:30. So I came up Lois Street, which is one of the streets where we put the bituminous sidewalks in. They look so tacky.
Oh, gosh,
There really is a message you send by using concrete as opposed to blacktop.
I agree.
Anyway, just,
So if you,
Mentioned there was, so your 4th alternate decision is on a set of stairs. Again, I have this on the screen for you, but on this page,
L202B.
L202B is indicated in the bottom corner. If you were to leave the it's currently the high school gym area and exit the building in order to get to the field, that clouded red area is a set of stairs. Because there's a retaining wall, because the two ball fields are roughly 7 feet higher in elevation than the asphalt driveway that services the school. And so the last alternate is a set of stairs so that you don't have to take the graded ramp back and forth in order to get up to grade. You need to have the graded ramp because it has to be ADA accessible. But for those who want to take the quicker route, that's your alternate number 4 that's out there. Sorry, Ed.
No, that's
I
fine.
realized I didn't describe that.
So on the sheet that I gave you, the VE items that are in the packet for PCO, remember we thought we would save 2.8 million. We only saved 2.5 million. So we have to come up with the 307. PC 40 is 250,000.
That will be more, though, right, based on what.
Yeah,
Dave
well, I
just
have it
said?
down here, yeah.
There's another line that he has.
Tennis courts, 140,000. There's a classroom, 40,000. The water revision, 150,000. We have to fire wrap something, 20,000. Millwork, 20,000. Spiral enclosure, 30,000. Site electric, 18,000. Caulking, sorry, I spelled 32,000. Water, 20,000. Utility gas controller, 10,000. Card readers, 20,000. PCO 103, 13,000. Potential items not included, which we don't know. I put a 200,000. And then 227,000 would come out our contingency. If you look at the bottom, 885,000 is the sidewalks. 92,000 is the courtyard. 977,000 is the total. ONG would take their contingency, 750,000. We would take ours at 227. Remaining contingency as of, if we took everything, if we took those two things, would be right now 1,083,000. Would be our
Maybe to
contingency.
provide some context, what Ed is describing for you, these are all the pending changes that we've been talking through and we carry in our cost report to him. He's giving you an idea, although he has X number of dollars in the bank today, he's got a list of 20 or 15 items that if he spent all that money, he would be in a position to have roughly $1,080,000 uncommitted. And then what Ed just described for you was in a discussion with our team, we felt that at 2.7 million in a CM contingency, we're okay at this point to give back 750,000. So that our contingency, our at-risk contingency is going to come down to 1.9, carry us through the end of the project. And by a projection of, so that's where we are, right? And we pony up that part, which is all your money. It's just we release it early. And also the 1.9 million, if we use a projection of what we've been spending on cost-related items that we've charged to the CM contingency, we would still have $1 million uncommitted when we finish the job. Completely. When I finish the building, right. It's clear that I projected our, what we call a burn rate, what I'm utilizing of CM contingency funds through the construction of the building, basically another year. If we stay at that rate, we'll still have about 950,000 in the bank that we can give back at the end of the project.
You had a question, Jen?
I do. Are all of these ad alternates eligible for full reimbursement, or are some of these, like if you upgrade to add 2 extra tennis courts, or you go from voluminous to concrete, are those eligible for the 82% reimbursement? Or are those fully?
I believe it's only at 50%
Because it's the fields are a different
right.
ballgame.
So
It's 50%. The interior walkways would be eligible.
the courtyard
Courtyard
walkways would be
Yeah.
at full 85. Dave's wondering if maybe the sidewalks also.
Because again, it didn't show up on our initial we don't put alternates in our initial submission to the state, because they're gonna see these as change orders.
They're gonna see them as a change order.
Put it this way,
Related to a ball field.
we're gonna submit it as 100% eligible. See, worst comes worst, they throw some statute at us and say it's at a 50% rate, but we'll give it a go for 100%.
Yeah. This is infrastructure, right? And, right, athletic fields are
Yeah,
not 100, I mean, 85%. Or,
They're cut in half.
they're cut in half, right? But this sidewalks are
The
infrastructure.
only thing is, you're not adding more sidewalks, you're doing an improvement of the sidewalk they have. And
Gotcha.
in their eyes, technically, there's a sidewalk there that
Serves
to
the
some
purpose.
extent is gonna serve the purpose, you're enhancing it, so.
I was happy for Dave to submit it as 100% eligible.
Yeah, and when it comes back, if they say, no, it's not, we'll give you 50%, we don't fight it, we just give it a shot.
So some of these walks are for getting people from the parking to the extreme east to the building.
That's the, you know, that is the primary walk path between that parking area and the school. So that's the biggest sell that you would have at the state level. It's not just servicing athletic.
Yeah, as well as ADA accessibility, and all that's all.
Right.
That added stair. That doesn't have to be, ADA compliant, because you have another
Right.
Right, stairs
entrance that is.
generally are not ADA. And so we have an ADA route that already gets you to the ball field. So the stairs are just built there for convenience.
So that the second one doesn't have to be ADA compliant.
To be clear, the stair is ADA compliant because there's more to ADA than just wheelchair.
Okay.
So,
Oh, yeah.
but for wheelchairs, there's the ramps. and ramps.
It's specific for, and there's nothing that says you have to have both.
You don't need to have the stair necessarily, but it's more of a convenience
Yeah,
in this case.
right. People would have to double all the way back.
Well, I know, but I'm just,
Yeah, no.
but the parking would be over where
So we wouldn't shovel this in the winter time, so there wouldn't be any component to that. How about insurance companies? Do they care if you have stairs in there? Would they rather that you just use?
We have one now.
We have one now.
We have a ramp and a stair right now. Yeah, very similar, except this one has a few more
I'm in
steps.
favor of the stairs. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that it's not going to cost us money as we go along.
Insurance wise?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if insurance companies like concrete stairways like that or not. I don't know.
I don't think
To
so.
Mario's point, there's two other grade changes to where you actually have two sets of stairs that bring you from lower elevation up to the ball field elevation.
And this matches
You're
our
adding a
existing, this matches our existing condition right now, pretty much. Right, we're taking out that 10 stair space and we're putting in this 15er or whatever it comes out to.
And without the stair, it would be grass, turf.
Yeah, so
It's a
the
big
little
wall.
section that's clouded in pink
Yep.
has a little section of concrete adjacent to it. That wouldn't be there. It
Right.
would just be, sidewalk along the side of the driveway and you'd go up the ramps to get to the higher.
Would there be any wall though, or anything? Would people shortcut is my question? and just
No, they
jump
wouldn't be
through
able to get to, because if you look closely at the drawing, there's a heavy black line.
it? Yeah,
That is a retaining wall. So that's the same block that we
It's-
built the
it's
road out of.
the walls,
And
yeah.
there's a railing on that wall.
There's a fence.
A fence, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Or
a chain link.
Very similar to what we have now,
Right.
Yeah,
here to snack bar.
yeah, yep.
So you'd be looking up,
So people would really be funneled.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a couple questions. One, with our owner's contingency potentially reduced to $1 million at this point in a big job, what's the comfort level? And because that would have to cover any upgrades or switches for furnishings, et cetera.
Right, I think the $1 million is a healthy number. I don't think we, if you looked at where your track record is on the project, you haven't spent a large sum of money. Your largest sum of money is these lists that Ed has already covered.
There's not much more coming down the pipe that would.
Right, with that projection, with that list, we've tried to really project to you a worst case scenario. That everything that we're aware of at this time, we put a cost to, we put a conservative high number for that cost. Just to let you know, unless somebody really wants to change something, you wouldn't be, you'd still have that $1 million. you touched on something, you have one more piece of the puzzle to bid, and that is your FF&E and technology package. But historically, the estimates that, at least in my experience with DiAgostino and in FF&E packages, the estimates that come across that have been carried are good, solid, that the bid day costs are usually less than the numbers that these guys have projected. And a lot of stuff you're buying it right off state bid list, so there's no risk in those are fixed costs. So that would be the big unknown that I don't have, that I would be concerned about if I was in their shoes. But having that $1 million and the additional $1 million that I don't foresee us spending on the CM contingency side, you're in a pretty healthy position.
And you mentioned your burn rate through the end of building the building. What about the demolition of
Yeah.
the second of Big School?
Yep.
So, well, so at that point, right, if things
There's
continue
risk.
the way they're going, there is some risk there. Right? There's some risk possibly with something identified in the building or something being present in the site. But at that point, we do have that collective, whatever that is, almost $2 million in contingency that, again, it's that CM contingency, it's within our contract to use for things, but as the project continues to go on and that risk isn't there, money can be used to solve a more global challenge for the project and turn over a better product. The money doesn't do us any good sitting with us. So I mean, and that was the discussion we had last week, was to approach this going forward as a really just a shared kitty of money that collectively we have to just, if other changes come up that pose a risk to either contingency, we have to just look at those and then maybe times we make a decision and say, well, that came up. Do we really want it? Do we really need it? And, and make that decision at that point, knowing what we have for funds.
But the worst case scenario, given that the demolition aspect of the project isn't until the very end, is we have an issue of some sort. Let's say there's no other contingency dipping in, something that I can't even imagine, but something that is more than $2 million worth of a problem at the very end. And that's when we would be hurt, basically, because there'd be no more money in either pocket.
Right, and it's actually way about, you wouldn't have actually spent that if the $880,000 concrete sidewalk package, that doesn't happen until after the building's down. So in your worst case scenario, you haven't actually spent it. You would see a cost because once you award the change order, the trade is contractually due as profit. But it's not as if you don't have that fail safe, that parachute.
Right, to take that scope back out, go back to the asphalt sidewalks.
Right.
Your list here, Ed, you have a $200,000 potential items not included at the bottom. That's just a buffer. That's just
Correct.
another slush fund. Okay.
That's just,
So out of that sum, that total, it's really $200,000 less. You just added that
Correct.
for cautionary purposes. Okay.
And that's feeding off of the reports that Dan.
Right, and it's
Keith
actually
said.
those two things that Dave we spoke to earlier, these two changes for the space use
Yeah.
and the temporary classroom use, that fed into the 200,000. We had a couple of other, the increased cost of the water, maybe was in that 200,000. But it's just for what we don't know. And let's spend something on, but at this point, you're actually putting in ceilings.
Right.
Yeah.
You're pretty far along in the process
Okay.
of
Okay.
putting.
And we've gotten our way through a lot of some of the typical details of things, right? So while there are parts of, say, F3 that aren't as far along, we've encountered those construction details already in B building. So that
We
risk
really haven't seen much cost in the interiors. It's really the
it's the exterior,
Right.
yeah, it's with the water lines and the
Yeah.
detention detentions.
That would hurt.
Yeah,
And honestly, on the CM contingency side, we're actually burning more now in temporary conditions when we build the structure up. I think we'll actually slow our burn rate down as we move into finishes. There's just not that much small cost that we have to manage with the trades.
Only comment I had, and I envision that courtyard as being a real community space that the community's gonna be able to use, and I just feel like if we shortchange on that space, it's kind of like every time people walk up, they're gonna be like, why did they do that?
Right.
You're gonna remember, we can show films.
Exactly, that's, I
outside.
guess, I'm like, it's, I'm hoping it becomes the flagship, and I also worry about the teenagers, because concrete versus asphalt leads to, we can drive over there versus separating it out with the concrete, but I just think it looks better. It doesn't look like a parking lot for a courtyard. I think it's something we should consider.
They're nice.
Yeah.
And you have, majority around your building are concrete.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just looking for opportunities to save on bid day to make sure you clean it up.
Courtyard, they ran out of money.
Right.
Right. That's exactly right.
Can I make a motion?
Well, we're gonna go over each one.
We didn't talk about that. Can we do them in reverse order? Because we didn't talk about the tennis courts.
Yeah, the first one is the tennis courts on the,
I know, but we didn't really.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, okay, no,
No,
because
no,
on
no.
the agenda, that's what you're talking about. Okay.
no.
Well, I guess we have to.
The first one, is to add 2 tennis courts, to the project, $150,000. You make a motion, Armand,
Second,
second, Fiona, discussion.
I think if we don't do that, we would have to pay to rent to have the full meets, so it would cost you a lot more in the long run to not put the other tennis.
Yeah,
courts
and
in.
even the regular meets, I guess matches, I guess the proper
Yeah.
word is.
Yeah, matches, not meets.
Yeah, they're a death march right now.
Yeah.
They take like 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah.
So that was a real request from the athletic department that if we could get the 2, it would certainly save a lot of time and effort. And it's there for the
Do
community
we
as well.
have a sense, let's say Watertown High, for the Mets, there's some recent renovations, some of the water restrictions, how many tennis courts they have?
Noggy has 6 for sure, because I walked by him.
Okay.
I don't know
Some of
about
the schools we've
Watertown.
done, I think, like, I know, like even some of the small, like Region 12, Region 14, those all have. And one of those facilities has 8.
Yeah.
The other one has 6 or 8, so it's.
Most of six.
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
six.
It's gotta be understood to be the minimum for that play.
And there's a real shortage of tennis courts for the town.
Yeah.
Geez, are there any? Actually, now that I think of it.
Yeah,
Like
there's
Durant Street, right?
Oh, Durant.
Durant
yeah,
has 1.
Right. Durant Street has 1. So this is good for the town and hopefully we'll have a couple bucks. We'll line one of them or 2 of them for pickleball.
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah. I know.
Your time will come.
Huh? I know. Yvonne Rundle.
Yeah.
All right, so we got
There's a motion,
in a second.
second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next one. The exterior stairs to the athletic fields.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, what was it? I'm sorry.
Fiona and Kathy.
Sorry, Kathy, you're not fooling around. They got
Around.
bake cookies or something when they get home.
So that's the exterior stairs to the athletic fields. Discussion?
No bacon.
No bacon. Anybody got a question on the stairs?
No.
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next one is the concrete sidewalks at the athletic field. Have a motion? Robin, second. It's Donna.
Don.
It's really gonna make difference, all of the concretes, it really gonna look nice.
And Dan said that if you do run into a problem. that's
Right, you
something we
can.
get back off of later.
Right, and you just have to pay for overhead and.
Right.
That's it,
But you're locking these in at,
yeah,
what is a very good price.
right.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next one is the concrete sidewalks at the courtyard,
So,
which will have our,
Armand.
I was trying to say something.
sorry.
No, that's okay. Have a party there we'll watch something. It's gonna, that, which we call it the egg shape, that's gonna be primary factor in the building, outside the building. It's gonna look gorgeous. It really is. It's gonna be a spectacular thing for the kids and for the city of Torrington. Second. Ellen.
Armand and Ellen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Any chance of getting stamped concrete if we put an O in the middle of O and G?
I tried that many times.
Yeah, boy, oh boy, that's becoming a theme I hear.
I did.
Red will be colored.
Oh,
Will it be gray concrete or will it be a color through and through?
There is no staining or color in the bid price.
And you don't.
Just throw it out there.
And the courtyard's gonna be set up for projection of.
Well, it's got that flat,
Flat
it's
screen,
got
yeah,
the
Right,
flat
building
section.
itself has a nice flat section, but actually one of the numbers that's carried, I might have mentioned it, is to put more infrastructure. There was a shortfall of infrastructure for data out there, power out there.
Yeah, that's what we were.
Yeah,
Sorry to
you're gonna
interrupt.
have-
I should've thought that.
You're gonna have it all,
yeah, everything.
in that courtyard.
Okay,
It's gonna be nice.
then you gotta have concrete.
Yeah. Okay, you have, the next one is all the PCOs. I'll just go through them and we'll do all at once. The first one you have is 029R2, which is the air to drop at the auto shop, $379. Next one is a door revision. You want to make a comment on that one?
The doors in the kitchen area were wood, and in review, Slam issued a proposal request to change those to hollow metal doors, like into the storage rooms, into the offices in the kitchen area. And then there's a small savings because if you remember, we had that platform, what used to be outside the faculty dining, that didn't get accepted. So we went after the cost to go from a door to a solid window. And that's the small savings, $500, $650. That's what this PCO is.
The next one is add spray foam. That's a CM contingency. Anything on,
Yeah, to describe that, so that AVB that we spray on the outside of the building, the structural steel that holds the relieving angles that supports all the brick, projected out beyond the plane of the chip sheeting and created a cavity that needed to be dried in. And so it wasn't described in the drawings. I couldn't get it out of the trade. Came up with a method that actually would slam and spray filled all those gaps. And so that's that cost. This is actually not the full cost of that problem. This was about 2/3 of the way through. We closed the change order out, moved it forward, and then there's one more for about 6,000 that wrapped up the building. Building type.
the next one is the middle school CAF window sill.
Yep, that was just a detailed problem. The detailed drawings that were issued out didn't match, didn't coordinate to the size of the window that was in the middle school cap. So we had to structurally raise that angle up to meet the right rough opening for the window size.
Next one is a safety cable, which is the CM contingency.
Yep, that's how we burn through the CM contingency. We have to pay somebody to cut all the temporary fall protection out. There's, half a dozen of these, worth about 4,000.
Next one, a CM contingency, additional fireproofing.
The structural steel over time had too much rust. The special inspectors that we had on the site wouldn't allow us to spray the fireproofing for fear that the rust would cause the fireproofing to fall off the steel. So that's prep time that was needed to scrape rust and scale off the structural steel. And that's the type of thing that we spent the CM contingency on that we want to do.
The next one is the relieving the angle length.
Similar situation, the window, the structural steel detailed drawings that we went out to bid with didn't carry the structural steel out far enough where to carry the brick. We needed to add 12-inch sections in 8 locations physically in the field. So
Next one is
small
a,
coordination bust in the detail.
next one is the gym lobby revisions. That's a credit.
Yeah, what's not mentioned in the language of this change was that the reason there's money back is because we took 2 display cases out of the project. This came in early on when someone said we need to find a spot for when people are walking in the building, we want to put some sports type of stuff, and it really doesn't belong in a display case. And then add a monitor in lieu of a display case. So that's why it's money back to the project.
Next one is part of the owner's space changes.
Yep, that was the time and material portion of the work. Where we had where we had framed the walls and in small cases, actually put wiring in the walls that had to come back out. Walls had to be relocated. A little bit of fire protection had to be moved because of the wall partition location.
The next one is removal of temporary safety cable. That's a CM contingency. Next one, 116, is a sill framing conflict.
Yep, and this is actually the second one, again, similar to the other, where in area A and B, we realized that the structural steel was interfering with how the form exterior wall was framed, and they had to make modifications. So area A and B came through as a 1 change order at about 14,000, and then area E and F came through at the 4,800.
Next one, 117, guardrails and safety post. That's a CM contingency. Taking them out. Next one is additional fall protection, CM contingency. Next one, 119, dry-in enclosure. A CM.
It's similar to the walls that I showed you. We had some allowance money in the trade to carry to build these temporary walls where I could identify them prior to bid. And in some cases, didn't identify enough locations. So that's where that cost comes in, and that's why it's charged to our.
The next one, 120 is safety gear, safety something, car locks, whatever, for fall
Again,
protection.
it's more temporary fall protection. If the structural steel is not there to put those steel cables in to help people fall, because there's no structural steel there, then we're building them out of wood after the building is up. So that's that cost.
The next two, 121 and 122, there's no changes. Just different trade is doing it.
Right.
The next one is the VE reconciliation.
Well, there were actually two, so PCO 122, same as the previous one, where we had the general trades contractor build the protection that was assigned to the plumber. But the big one is the 134, which is the closeout of all the VE. And I saw that Ed had included in his packet the language from the GMP agreement that we had, and then the tracking sheet that we had used to track all of the 70 items that saved the 2.5 million coming out of the gate.
Then I attached 123, which is a CM contingency, the roof membrane. 124 is a CM contingency, the spray foam.
Remember that phone?
125 is a CM contingency.
Your existing gym dry.
126, primary service adjustment, that's a CM contingency. And 127, loading zone adjustment is a CM contingency.
Motion to approve all of them in a bundle.
A bundle. we have a-
Bundle vote, Fiona
we have
makes a motion.
Second.
a Second, Ellen. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Next, payment of invoices. The first one is Innovative Engineering for $7,333.15. Have a motion to approve. That, second. Second, John. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Next one is Slam for $60,030.
So moved.
So moved. Fiona,
Second.
second. Who's that? Ellen. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? BL Company, 5,000,
Whatever the hell.
whatever it is, $832.75. Have a motion? Donna, second.
I'll second.
On. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next one is Tri-State. They had 4 invoices totaling $12,780. Have a motion to approve that.
So moved.
So Kathy, second. John,
The hardest working guy in the job right there. He's there
Constant.
all day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Comments for the good of order. Jeff?
Great meeting, guys. Happy Christmas, New Year, holidays, all that stuff. We'll see you in
Doug?
January.
Thank you for coming through for tennis, which just by when it's played, it's late in the year, so it's often forgotten about. So thank you for coming through for a non-revenue sport.
Okay. Ace?
Happy holidays, looking forward to the next tour.
January 6th.
Armand?
Happy holidays to all.
Thank you. Holidays?
Zach?
Thanks for dinner.
All good. You?
Sure.
Sure, okay. Just want a couple of things. One, oh, sorry.
Dave's buying wine at Marzano's, if anybody wants to go.
I am. Anyone who wants to come over for a drink, come on over.
I may have a red wine.
I hope you do. No, really, anyone.
Me too.
I got one question for Kep.
Yeah.
If you remember, I've been meaning to look it up. Is the length of the middle school court the same as the length of the high school court? Do you know? Or do you know?
Basketball?
Yeah,
If officially they're shorter, if.
right. I wonder if we
Right.
built it
Buttons
that way.
ours like that.
Did we build it that way or did we build it?
That's what I'm asking.
Build it high school
Overall
way?
space was smaller, because you and I did that.
Oh, yeah.
Remember you and I, whatever.
Yeah.
More.
We're just trying to figure out if they, well, they'll certainly be able to practice there.
Yeah.
While our gym is down.
Won't be able to have high school games there though.
No, you could probably pull off the girls, maybe. I don't know, but I don't know, Rob, is a collegiate floor the same as a men's floor?
Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. All right, we'll look into that, but either way, they'll use the gym for practices.
I think high school is 94.
There's a range.
Middle school, I think is 84.
High school 84, middle school 74.
74?
Yeah.
So then pros are 94.
Gotcha.
Okay, just a couple of things. We have 17 students as apprenticeship program working.
Yep.
ONG did our third with the students. We talked about MJ Daly and Blackwater fireproofing. Here is just a handout from the second one.
People loves paper.
Just to let you know, last Friday, before last Friday, I made arrangements with the food service teacher at the high school. They cook for 170 workers, chili and cornbread.
Nice.
The kids came over with the teacher. They served all of the workers and there were leftover containers and the workers took all of them too.
They had sour cream, they had
Sour-
sour cheese,
Right.
they had chives, and they had cornbread.
Yeah.
You had a lot of happy.
Nice.
Lot of- It's just, and the kids were great. The kids were just unbelievable.
Remarkable,
Yeah.
you know, they got things spot on.
And
Took
he,
them around too, right?
yeah, he took them
And I-
around. Yeah, nice. Also, he wants to do something in April or May.
But they were all graduating,
Yeah.
so. none of them were-
Is it a full-
You show students, I saw what that they don't get to work in.
The last one, just to let you know, I'm trying to start a program, but I got in touch with Yolanda. We met today, Mario, myself, Sue Ferguson, Mike Wilson, Brian, and Andrew. Hopefully, it's gonna start in April. We're looking to start it. 10 to 12 seniors who are gonna reach 18 years of age, who has a learner's permit, to start a program where it will be 120 hours of class time work or online work or going field trips, the trade unions will transport them on their own vans. Two things. One, if they complete the program, they get $500. If they need a tools, they get another $500. If they need a driver's license, they will assist them to get a driver's license.
Correct.
And I think it's great. So they're gonna,
And they're at the top of the list, really, to enter the apprenticeship program,
Correct,
which is
correct.
the real
they go right in.
nice.
And they will get what they're working on credit. And starting right after Christmas, the guidance counselor, Barbara Beebe, will start interviewing seniors.
Can you ask Yolanda, she had left before we decided it might be nicer if we could start it before April to avoid what Mario
Oh,
had
okay.
raised as like that senioritis.
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
thing. It's happening, well, I guess.
It's in Naugatuck. They're trying
It's
to
in
start it in
Naugatuck
Naugatuck.
too, yeah,
But this is,
because that would be good if we could back it
yeah,
up a
okay,
little
I'll
bit.
call Yolanda. Yeah. It's just more kids we can get
Yeah.
involved and working. And just Elvis, one of the, what? No, Elvis.
Oh, Elvis.
Elvis is in the
Elvis
the
is
high
in the
school.
building, huh?
He's in the building. So he already has worked 1,000 hours at the high school. He gets a raise. It's just great. It's just great. So,
Yeah, it's the union throws 50 grand at it.
yeah, that's not 50,000 at the program. So it's just, yeah. And Yolanda is really, Yolanda Rivera, she's
She's
great.
good, very good.
She's very good.
It's gotta be an NC.
That's all I have. Next.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, happy holidays.
Thank you, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Great meeting. Happy holidays.
It's becoming more real and more real. Happy
Yeah,
holidays.
this-
Happy holidays
Yeah.
and thank you guys.
Yeah,
You guys
thank
make this
you.
project a lot easier for all of us, so thank you.
Collegiate Court, Mario's 10 feet longer. Is that what you asked?
Women versus men?
I didn't Google that, but I Googled,
Gotcha.
all right.
Marissa?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, thank you.
Just forgot Adam, who is the food service teacher at the high school, great guy. We brought him into his new room. Part of it's painted. He loved it. He loved the new room. Yeah, it's gonna be great. So everybody have Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, healthy ones. And January 6th, 10 o'clock,
We walk.
we walk.
Bring your boots. It's a little juicy
A
out
little
there.
juicy out there.
Well, let's hope it's.
It'll be icy.
Yeah, 6:23, can I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Alma, second.
3-point line that moves, that seems.
Great holidays.